Hey, welcome back to Getting in the Game. I'm Dennis Zylstra, and if you're thinking about getting in the game, this video is about the tools that you're going to end up probably buying. There will be a few that I'm going to suggest that you can live without. I think some of these are extremely necessary. So if you're interested in that, stick around. Well, I took the side panels off and I got them all prepped and ready to rock and roll. And I stuck them over here and I'm experimenting with whether or not I want to put a reducer in the primer. But that's an epoxy primer, white. I did the inside and out and just one coat. If you can see through it slightly, it doesn't matter at all to me. Just gonna lightly sand that and the final paint job's gonna go over the top of it. So those are done. I'm going to put that in my toolbox. Anyway, that'll be what we'll hook to this. Where I like it on that radius, doesn't matter where it is on this. I fine-tuned it just a little with the file because it hit the edge, the drill moved just a little. Wasn't taking my time with it, but as you can see, just once we countersink those rivets in, we'll be able to lay it on a smooth surface and just slide it up there, bam, got a little jig. I'm gonna go straighten that up and we'll countersink these. Before we rivet them together though, make sure the edges are smooth. You don't wanna put it on a rail angle and scratch it up. Here now, make sure the rivets are on top and the countersink's on the bottom. That's a handy dandy little tool. That's the little spot where it connects to the, if you have a clean spot and you're marking them, we don't have to sit there with bottle caps. No, we don't have to sit there with a nickel or a dime. You just slide that in there. It finds itself that quick. It's marked. I'll probably make several of these, but this one will do probably 90% of the stuff that I want to do. So that's it. So now that that's done, let's see how it works. Just throw it up there quick and just lightly draw your curve and you got it every time, fast and easy. If you found my channel, you know that I'm a newbie to this, but now that I've been in it about a year, a little over a year, I've come up with some things that I think are just musts. You could do it without, but these are things that are gonna make it so much handier. Okay, here's my old beat up one. But I'm lucky it's got the features on it that are really important. And one of them is that it lays flat. And you'll wanna know the height of it. The height of it's really important because of the fact that you're going to probably build a bench that has lower storage on it. And if you build it too low that you can't go under it, and hit to the very back, it's going to really matter because then you're going to have to take this off and go under there and get on your hands and knees and it's a mess. You might not want to think that you have to put much thought into just getting a vacuum. And most people have got the shop vacs, and they're great for water. You can't use these on water at all. But we're not going to be doing that much. But we are going to be vacuuming a whole lot. So, and this old one that he had was just the perfect thing for this. First of all, you really need the beater that touches the ground. You don't want to just, shop vac just sucks. And they just suck because they're always catching on stuff, following you around, and they're just a mess. But these, you can vacuum all day long, doing it like this, there's no sweat, moving it underneath things. But one of the nicest part about it is it's got a beater, so it gets that fine dust up off the ground that we're going to be doing a lot of creating. If you're going to do an aluminum plane, there's going to be a lot of aluminum in your shop. And this here, I've just lucked out. I've never seen one like this. Most of them just suck up into the bag. But this has an attachment that actually does the sucking. And when you attach it back on, it goes back to the bottom through that. But in the meantime, you can just quickly attach and get under things, get around things. This attachment has been just wonderful. I wouldn't order one without it. Okay, we have the other brand in the house, and I won't say its name, but it has a hose on it, and it's an upright, and it's a really top-notch vacuum, but it is a pain in the butt to use the hose on it. So get one that's exterior and doesn't slide into the handle or do anything funky, and you'll enjoy it a lot more. You use it more often. And so the must-have, number one for your shop, before you even get started, is an upright, agitated brush vacuum. If you're new to being in the shop, go get a speaker. Because a little speaker like this, you're not going to be interrupted by filming and having to turn the radio off all the time. Or you don't want earplugs in all the time. They get in your way. The new ones are probably better than that, but just a small little speaker. Hook your phone up to it, throw it anywhere you're going to work for a bit. Must have. You've seen me use this a lot. I don't know if I would go with the 10-inch. If you're just going to do airplane parts, you can get a desk mount. Even the Grizzly's not that great. I mean, it's a budget type bandsaw. But that being on a table is really handy for me. I didn't want to take up space in my workbenches. But if you got workbench space, I would get a tabletop because you only use it to trim out pieces before you file them and stuff. But a bandsaw, definite, you can do without it, but it's a great option. As far as must-haves for building this plane, you sure don't need a welder. I myself wanted to learn how to TIG weld all my life, and I just never have. So I ended up getting one in the dreams and the hopes that I would build my own aluminum header tank. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to. It's that difficult. So hats off to those who TIG weld aluminum. When you get your kit from Zenith for tools, you'll get 2 files. You got to remember too to keep your files. If you've used them on steel, you really shouldn't. You should just get a brand new file and designate it. Always designate your stuff just for aluminum. Don't cross-contaminate between steel and aluminum. You'll learn about that as you study. But it comes with 2, so you've got one that's more aggressive and one that's finer. But I found that having a set of really tiny ones is pretty much a must-have for getting into rounded ones, for getting into corners. The 2 get a lot done for shaping and getting something down to a line you'd marked, but these will do your fine work when you're in corners and stuff. Must-have. To me, some of the must-haves are extra clamps. If you're new to this, these hook on with the Cleco pliers, but watch it, they pinch you when you let them off. The other thing is have lots of rivet guns. because you can have a different head set in every one of them. If that's just the reason, just to put an A4, write A4 on it. If you're gonna have an A5, write A5 on it. And then some for flat. You're gonna do flat stuff because, well, you might be new to this, not know, but the rivet guns for the rivets that we use, the A5s and A4s, are flat when they start, but the rivet head, the rivet gun, puts the dome in the head. So instead of changing these out all the time, have a few different ones with you. Then if you do need one that's extra short, and this one's the shortest one I've got, then you can switch that out and use that in a tight spot. Kind of nice. To me, must have. This is a tool I regret buying, but I still use it. It's a little short. It doesn't reach in as deep as I would like. But it's for putting the bend in angle aluminum so that when you crimp it, it bends it slightly. If you're new to this and don't know that. I wish I would have built my own. There's a way to put two pieces of metal together, and I probably will eventually. Probably about the time I'm done. And this one you have to go in there, take a bite of it, one bend, and then if you want more, you gotta kind of reach in further and do it again. So it's doable, but I should have spent the money and got a aircraft quality one, not one from Amazon. Another must-have, clamps. Make sure the ends, you can get these anywhere. Make sure when you put them in a place, just bop them up and tighten them. This is for woodwork. They're excellent for all kinds of things in this. With a little block of wood you can put behind it, get in there and hold it in place while you drill it. To me, a must-have. Get a set of these. Hopefully you'll support Zenith and get their toolkit. There's nothing wrong with it, it's great. But it doesn't have enough black clecos, in my opinion. You need more. Set yourself up right now and just go out and get yourself a bunch more black. You can ask them how much and actually double or triple it. And then the same thing goes for the gold. I don't think the kit comes with gold at all, so you'll need some gold. They come in hand. There's a lot of uses for them. And as far as the copper go, I believe I did buy some copper. I think it came with quite a few copper. But anyway, definitely go out and must have is more of the black clecos. Another tool I think is a must have is something for cable so that you can cut it. Side cutters aren't going to get it done. You don't want to do grinding because that just throws crap all over. The end frays up. I did see where putting in a vise in rubber jaws, heating it and spinning it on line with a drill. You chuck up the end of it and cut it close to where you want it with a grinder or whatever. And I don't know if I'd trust that to get that 1/4 of an inch that you want, but these are really cheap. Cable cutters, you're going to end up cable cutting. And when you do the electrical work for the batteries and stuff, cable cutting. Okay, tip 336. Always put a pad in front of your main workstation. Not so that your feet don't get tired, even though that's cool. I hate a pad on the floor. But we're working with expensive things, and I've dropped so many things off my bench working over the years, and that has saved me. Let's say if you dropped a light, and they cost a ton of money, and it cracked it. Well, that right there, you don't have to try to catch it because it just hits that and it's good. So that is a must. You're going to need a bunch of 400 sandpaper. Make sure that it is the aluminum oxide, the yellow. The other does something to the aluminum. It reacts with it. Can make it corrode. Don't take my word for that. Just look it up, or you can find out about that if you're looking into it. The other thing is crazy things. Small blocks, little pieces of wood, big pieces of foam block. This was for tile work. Works excellent, but little different shapes. If you want to go over an edge of something, cut a corner in a piece of wood, you can get all your little blocks ready to go. Get your sanding area ready to go. because sanding is a great way to denib. You know, that sits over something so that you can sand inside the edge of something. Set yourself up with, I set myself up with just the basics. I've got 80 grit here, sticky, and 400. Anything in between, I'll probably be just doing by hand without, I mean, these are by hand also, but I mean, just individual pieces of paper. This stuff I got on the roll because of the fact that we go through so much of it. I've already used up one roll of 400 on just the first year. So don't be scared to buy yourself a full roll of 400 3M. Must have. Wait, I gotta qualify that. It's only a must have if you're gonna sand the edges and sand things, instead of denibbing with just the twirl tool. I denib with almost 100% sanding. I denib with the other parts also. If it's too big of a piece, I might go on it just a little, but I prefer sandpaper. The other thing is this. This is how we want our stuff to look, or like this is how we want the ends of our metal to look, but they are usually like this. And they give you a tool after you get done cutting it. Guys, just do this, and it shaves that off. But it leaves chatter marks sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. This comes with the toolkit from Zenith. So a lot of people, that's how they just take care of their edges. I don't. I individually sand each edge, and then towards the end, round the edges like this until there's no little dings in it, or no little chatter marks at all, because I don't want it to crack down the road. So I'm looking to get this when I'm done. This is how it comes, or it comes like this after you cut it. It's got the edges. So to me, the 400 is a must-have, because this tool has got its places, but I haven't been able to conquer it yet. I didn't want to buy this. I had drills. Like, there's my drill set. I got little ones, bigger ones, and they're great. But you're gonna have to get a step. Get a couple of those. I only have one. And I ended up getting this because I wanted, there's different size drills that you want just a hair under and then bring them up. Instead of trying to figure out what the numbers mean or the letters on them, use one of these and measure it, and you'll be surprised at the difference of the sizes between companies. So if you're trying to stay within tolerances and drilling holes for rivets and you really care, then measure the drills that you buy and make sure that they're not too big. These match drill sets, you'll learn all about it by the time you get going, but they're for what they call a blind hole, or when you can't see, it's behind something and you got a drill on top. Well, how do you locate it? You put this under the metal in that hole of the appropriate size, and then you drill down to the top skin that's laying there, and you need a set of these also. And of course, a torque wrench. If you're going to be torquing things, get a good quality torque wrench. Mine is not a super good quality, but it tests out really good, so I'm happy with it. Always set them back to 0. If you're new to this and you've never used one, always, when you're done using it, set it back to 0 so that it sits there untensioned. Another must-have. Well, there's so many must-haves, because you are going to be torquing bolts too. Well, thanks for coming along. I really got to talk about things that I really like. I love tools, and they really make your life much easier. So if you haven't bought any of this stuff yet and you're really planning on doing this, I know the price of the airplane is a great deal, but it would be in your best interest to get this stuff ahead of time, so you don't have to think about it later when you get going. So thanks for sticking around on this one. I got work to do.